Happy Thursday and welcome back to the You Good podcast, the podcast where oversharing is encouraged and the thoughts get real. I am your host, C-Rod, joined as always by my co-host, Nick. Today's guest is someone who took a passion that most people only casually admire and built an entire life around it. From college memories that involved blood, ambulances, and absolute chaos to creating a nonprofit animal preserve and leading conservation efforts that now impact people all over the world, our guest has turned caring deeply into her life's work. This episode is about purpose, sacrifice, and what happens when the things you love most also become the things that demand the most of you. Welcome to episode 49, Amazing Animals. Let's get into it. Nick, welcome back from an amazing vacation. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good. It was a lot of fun.
Was your trip to the land of the Red Sox?
They definitely sucked while I was up there. It was fun. The game was fun, even though we lost. There was a lot of hits for Minnesota, so it was an exciting game. Please,
just so people know, Nick is a Red Sox fan. He went to Fenway this weekend, and I believe the Red Sox got swept by the lowly Minnesota Twins. Can't really say anything because the Yankees suck, and they almost got swept by the Rays, I believe. Terrible.
We're turning it around today. It seems like we back-to-back home runs. So
okay. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you got to see your team.
Revolutionary War stuff. That was a whole lot of fun. Just walking around the city.
You went like museum or sightseeing?
Yeah. Well, we went to the Boston Museum of Fine Arts.
Nice.
They have the largest collection of Monet paintings outside of France. So that's pretty cool. And a bunch of other stuff. And then the whole like Boston Massacre, Boston Tea Party, that stuff.
Yeah, that little market. Isn't there like a trail or something you can follow?
Yeah. The Freedom Trail. It's like 2.5 miles. It goes to like 16 locations, ending on Bunker Hill.
Yeah.
Where the Battle of Bunker Hill was. So
that's awesome.
Super fun. Paul Revere House. That was pretty neat.
I went there with my dad.
Yeah.
When we did our baseball trip up to Boston, we didn't go all the way to Bunker Hill, but we did most of that walk, and we went into that tiny little home, which was pretty cool.
Super tiny, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh man. And I think he had 16 kids, 11 of which made it to adulthood. So, and in that tiny ass house.
Yeah.
But it was over, I guess. Like,
I mean, you should, if you don't know, look at the Paul Revere home. I don't know. It's basically like a 1-bedroom apartment. That's how small that place was for how many people lived in it.
Yeah, but it had like 3 stories and a basement. I mean, but very, very terrible conditions. Like I couldn't imagine. But the oldest park in the country is the Boston Common, and it's like 1692 or something like that. Our hotel was right there, so we explored a lot. I think Saturday was like 7 miles, and then yesterday was like another 8. Sunday, not nearly as much because it was raining, but
put in that work, baby. Put in that work. Good, man.
Super fun. I highly recommend it. I didn't do nearly all of it. There's still so much more to do, so we'll be back.
Spent a week in there doing it just to do that.
Yeah.
You had a good weekend in Boston, and what I want to do now is introduce today's guest before we go further. I know we have some more banter to intro and topic about and rotational openers to get to, but today's guest is the owner of Amazing Animal Inc. Kylie Reynolds is going to be on. She is one of those people that I met in college, like I talked about. She has built a animal sanctuary in her backyard that we'll talk about. She cares deeply about animals. She cares deeply about conservation. She's running a nonprofit. Kylie Reynolds, welcome to the You Good podcast. We appreciate you being on.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Of
Absolutely.
course.
I know I said this to you earlier, but I wore my Rex shirt for you because it's the only animal I have. I tried to see if I had any
I love
tiger shirts on, but
We'll need to get you one of my Joffrey's cat shirts.
yes, yes,
Yes.
we will. Yes, we will. Another avid listener to the show. Any thoughts or concerns before we get into it today? Are you
No,
happy to
I'm
be here?
excited
You nervous?
to talk about everything, kinda
Oh,
get
yeah.
to hang out with you guys, chit chat about what I got going on here, I guess.
What you got going on?
Yeah.
Before we get into that, I know that we just had Memorial Day. Any crazy Memorial Day plans? Or Nick, I guess you were up in Boston for Memorial Day, but Kylie, how was your Memorial Day weekend?
Typical, I worked, took care of
Yeah.
all the animals, the whole weekend, and it's
Animals don't take
really
Memorial Day off, huh?
they don't care what holiday it is, and it's been very hot out,
Yeah.
so it's been fun.
Yeah. Duh. I mean, you work outside in the heat all day, every day. Do you have like a
Yes.
special shade suit or something that keeps you fully covered?
Uh, it might not look like it, but I do wear a lot of sunscreen, and I do have a big floppy hat, and I try to drink a lot of Gatorade. That is key.
Gatorade,
Mhm. Because 'Cause I'm, like,
H2O.
sweating by 7 a.m. usually.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
you decided to wake up at 6:45 to take the kids to the beach on Monday, which
Ooh.
was a whole thing in itself because we go there. So on Anna Maria Island, you've probably seen an Instagram or TikTok of this really beautiful point with blue water called Bean Point Beach. And if you haven't, Google it, check it out. I'm sure I'll just flood all of the tourists there now. But it's a small spot. And I mean, there's probably only 50, maybe 60 parking spots because it's all residential street parking.
Mhm.
And then you have to walk. So it's like a 10-minute walk from the car to the beach. There's no like real parking. So it's just this little secluded beach. And it's a beautiful thing. It took an hour and a half to get there. It took 40 minutes to get from the car unpacked and set up. But we finally got there, I think at 9:45. And we had about a 5-hour day at Memorial Day. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
And
sounds
something I realized recently, and this is a great segue into our rotational opener this week, is actually enjoy the beach again and in Florida. And I don't know when that changed, but since I grew up in Florida, in Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach, our side, New Smyrna, I was constantly at the beach, either playing baseball or we had summer beach houses out there. So we were always at the beach. And I think I went through this point in my life where I was like, I don't like the beach anymore. I like the mountains and the snow and the cold. And then I did all that fun. And just recently, within like the last 2 or 3 years, I've started going back to the beach. I'm like, hey, I'm having a good time here. It's nice out. Maybe I want to do this again. And that's just something that I don't know, has I've transitioned in. And my question, the very first question of the episode to you, Kylie, is there anything that's happened in the last week or so that you've realized recently that's been purposeful or that's just change or maybe something that was nostalgic or how your priorities have shifted?
That's a good question. I don't know, I was talking a lot with my family about, like, different things growing up, that we used to do and trying to remember, like, those little nostalgic moments, which I haven't gone down memory lane like that in a while. So it was kind of fun to kinda think about some of those things and, growing up as kids, I have 3 younger sisters, and we all used to have, like, rotational spots in the car, and I was like, "I remember that." Um, I don't know, just, I guess, going down memory lane a little bit this past week, but
Yeah,
nothing too crazy, I guess.
no, that's awesome. And Nick and I have talked a ton about nostalgia, and it's always interesting to realize some of the memories and having three younger sisters. There's a lot of people to bounce ideas off of. When you say rotational seats, does that mean that like somebody wanted the front, or did you guys have like an SUV and somebody wanted the back? I know Kinsley loves to sit in the back. What was your rotation?
Oh, yeah, it was my mom had a minivan, and they had the 2 bucket seats, so that was, like, always a fight, who would be in bucket seats, front seat, or get stuck in the back. So, every month, we got to rotate each seat, and that was our seat for the month. So, there was
I don't
no
know. I
fighting
think the
over where
back's
we're
a good
going.
way to go. You're
I
out
was
of
a bucket seat
smacking
person.
distance from mom. You know when she always says,
That's
"Don't make
true,
me pull
that's
this
true.
car around." She can't smack the back.
That is true. I never thought of it like that. We had days. My mom would
Mm,
write down an initial on the calendar every single day,
wow.
and whoever's day it was got to basically they got to control what happened with the TV, whether it was video games or we watched something, and then they got to sit where they want the front seat. But
Oh, wow. So a kid had like control of the day each day.
yeah, well, and obviously, unless a parent wanted it, it was
Yeah, but
mostly
like
for the kids. Yeah.
as far as like TV control was like top
Yeah, my mom
priority
didn't
for
care.
sure.
My dad was always away on business, so it was my mom was doing like I don't know, whatever. We also, I think, at one point had multiple TVs or whatever. Yeah, I know,
Wow.
I know I wanted TV once, so it was in my room, and once that happened, I didn't care whose day it was because I was never coming out of my fucking room. So
As an only child, I can't. No.
you can't
Oh, you don't know
relate.
what that
Yeah.
life
I
is.
can't relate to either of you. I
Mhm.
No,
had
we fought. It was
all
a
the
fight,
yeah.
dude. Like, you don't
Yeah.
understand. It was a fight all the time. So
Yeah.
there had to be something in place to not
Yeah,
fight.
that's what brought this whole thing up. My sister was like, "What word did we say to save our seats?" Like there was something we said to save our
Mm.
seat. And I think we went between like seat check and dibs. But if you didn't say
Yeah.
that, your seat was gone on the couch.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Mm.
you got up and didn't say something.
Yeah. Yep.
You're
Done.
sitting on the floor now.
So it's a
Yeah.
real thing. It's a real thing, you know? I never
Yep.
knew. I could
Yeah,
sit in any seat I
lucky.
wanted, you know?
Lucky. It builds character. It builds character to have to fight for
Oh,
everything
yeah.
you do every day.
You fight your whole life. You just fight your whole life.
Fight your whole life. Well, awesome. I think that was the first time we've used this rotational opener, so I appreciate you sharing that, Kylie. Nick, same question to you. Anything that you've realized recently?
That I like Florida a lot more than I realize. No, every time I leave, I'm like, it's nice, but I miss Florida. I don't know. Like, even when I got off the plane and the heat hit me, I was like, oh, man, this is home. Like, I didn't even get mad. I was just like, yep, I should have known.
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean,
it was like
going to the Northeast will
60s.
do that to you.
Dude, it was 60s all weekend. Like, I was in jeans it's almost what, June?
Yeah. My boss lives up in Buffalo, and she says they've had cold weather and rainy weather. And down
Yeah.
here, it's like 99 degrees and a death trap.
Yeah, I was in a sweatshirt at the Red Sox game. Like,
Yeah.
it was in crazy.
Meanwhile, we're down here wearing either the least amount of clothes we can wear or the most amount of clothes we can wear to cover everything.
Right. With just UV protectant, lightweight.
Yes.
I even had to apply sunscreen to my dome this weekend. The old oldie, I didn't want it to get burnt. That happened to me a few weekends ago. I was like, oh, you're right. I do have to put sunscreen on my head.
I don't know that pain yet.
Yeah. Kinsley's mom, she was like, make sure you spray sunscreen on Kinsley's like part, because I guess she gets sunburnt here. I didn't have any spray sunscreen, so I said, Kinsley, come here. And I took a squirt bottle and I just squirt a whole
poor
lump in
kid.
my hand. I go, Gus, what are you doing?
Poor
I was like, your mother said that.
Your mom made me do this.
It wasn't me.
That's funny.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate both of you sharing that, and I think that that's a good way to kind of open. And my first question then, or I guess my guest question, Kylie, before we get into this, and try not to make it about anything that we'll talk about today, but
Okay.
what's the most interesting thing about you that people usually don't expect?
I don't know, because everything about me is animals.
I'm gonna get somebody with this one day.
I know. What do you think is? Is
I
that what we're
don't
going
know.
to
I
talk
don't.
about? Come
Only know a small
on.
portion of your life.
I
What's
know.
the most interesting? I don't. That I
I
couldn't answer.
mean, one of my fun facts I like to give about myself, I guess,
Okay.
is that I do have extra wisdom teeth, which means I'm extra wise.
Extra wisdom teeth?
Yep.
But don't you usually get those pulled out?
I have all of mine still,
Mm.
and 2 extras.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Is that an interesting?
So
Is
how
that what
many
we're going
teeth
for?
do you have?
I have more. Yeah, I have more questions.
I don't know.
And now I'm
my
like, how many
dentist-
teeth is that?
Well,
Like-
then they took out, before I got braces, they pulled 4 of my like permanent teeth up front to like make space for everything in my mouth, but they left those all alone. I don't know. It was not my decision when I was growing up.
So, do you have too many teeth or not enough teeth, or did they pull enough so you have regular teeth?
Well, I guess I probably have like 2 because they pulled 4, but I have 2 extra, so I guess I'm like 2 less.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Is it because those are more important than the front teeth? So they're like, let's make room?
I have no yeah, they definitely had to make room. And I don't think my wisdom teeth were really, like, down yet, so they
Uh,
just left them alone.
What are your chewing habits like?
They're normal. I do bite my nails. Is that like
You like that?
Yeah.
Grind?
Just
I
grinding.
don't grind, no, yeah. No.
Gosh. Okay. Well, that's an interesting fact.
Yeah,
Interesting fact.
that's a fun fact for you.
All right, let's get started then, Miss Kylie. As people who may know of our time at UCF, they are familiar.
Uh-huh.
But if you're not, Kylie and I met in college. My God, what sorority were you?
Uh, Alpha Z Delta,
There you go, AZD,
EZD.
Alpha Z, and Kappa Sig. And Kylie was one of the first people I met.
Is someone
Are you somebody's
knocking?
little sister?
Yep, yep, I had a big sister. I only was in the sorority for, like, a year.
A year? Yeah. Well, I mean, my fraternity time was only 2 years because after our charter got pulled, I don't even know if I think I'm still an active member, but I'm not even sure because
You,
after 2
Yeah.
years and they pulled us out
yeah,
and they kicked us out,
you're
we
still
just
a
started hanging out
brother.
with the people that we already knew. It was weird.
Yeah. I felt like Kappa Sig I feel like I was more part of Kappa Sig than anything.
Yeah. I really sometimes I think about my college experience and even, when I had Michelle Ham on, I don't know if you remember Michelle Ham,
Mhm.
but I feel like some of those times were like 3 years or 4 years, and it was like a 6-month chunk or a 1-year chunk. A lot of my college time is split up in about 2.5 different years, and it's pre and Kappa Sig, and then it's post Kappa Sig and everything kinda else, and it all tends to blend in
Melts
sometimes.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. But would you say is your best memory of either Kappa Sig or our house parties, just
I
UCF in
loved
general?
Yeah, tailgates were probably some of my favorites. The big blow up slides. I definitely did some backflips off of those after playing some beer pong. So those were some of my favorites. And the rule of like if you pass out with your shoes on,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. The shoes on.
Yep. No
That
passing out
got
with
me
your shoes on.
yeah, that almost got me a few times with the pledges. Once
Yep.
you're a brother, that's the only way they can fuck with you. So they wait. So I don't blame them. But luckily, you have other brothers that like get you out of there. I'll never forget. I was blackout drunk after a party. I was up in like a 3rd-story apartment, just out, and my frat brother Han slapping me in the face. He's like, "Dude, you're passing out with your shoes on. The pledge is about to fuck with you." And I'm like, "I can't do anything about it." He's like, "I'm gonna take you home." I'm like, "You can't drive," because I'm like, I knew where you were at. You were the same party I was at. Like, there's no fucking way. He's like, "No, somebody else is driving." I'm like, "Sounds great." Getting some random's car just to get driven home. Yeah, but
Those were the days. You just got
no.
into a random person's car to get home.
Yeah, no, not those weren't the days. It was just dumb. The whole of that is just dumb.
How many people can we pile into this
Oh,
car
that was
so we can
another
all get
dumb thing
home?
we did.
Hmm.
But you know
12
what?
deep in
We all
in a
survived.
neon, and you're like, what the heck? Clown car in it.
We all
We
survived it
survived.
though.
By the
Yeah.
grace of God, we survived.
We had an apartment party one time, and this was my very first year of pledging Kappa Sig, and I had a fraternity brother named Rob Chuka, and he lived over in our complex, and he would pass out all the time with his shoes on all the time, and there were so many places that I would just take
Oh,
his shoes off and let him pass out. But one time he passed out in my apartment, and Alvaro, Kylie knows these people,
Oh
but
yeah.
Alvaro and Ben and a bunch of them were over Vinny, and we colored every inch of Rob's
oh.
feet and hands, the back of his neck. Oh, I took pictures of it, and at like the next day, I felt so bad. I think that was the last time I ever markered on anybody.
Dude.
And then I believe Kappa Sig got in trouble. That was like one of the last straws. I want to say it was like Diaz or somebody. they passed out and somebody drew on them, and that turned into a whole big thing. They were like, you can't haze pledges like that anymore.
We
Like
had a guy
that's
that
good.
passed
That's
out all
good
the
fun.
time.
Why
I'm
are
like,
we getting kicked
I
off for
probably
that?
drew on him. I'm sure I
That-
drew on him at some point.
We had a
just
brother
crazy when
that
people get
passed out all
kicked
the
out for
time. Diamond Dave Caseby. He would pass out all the time. He would get to the point of like drunkenness where he would just look through you, and that's when we're like, oh shit, Diamond's out, and he would pass out everywhere. I remember we saran wrapped him to a fucking sofa and brought him out into the parking lot. And then public safety was like, you got to bring him back inside. We're like, what? He's fine. But
fine.
yeah, he didn't wake up at all throughout that whole
man.
process. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Alcohol's a hell of a thing.
It's crazy, man. I don't think I've ever passed out like that. I think I usually always made it to my house or my bed, no matter how blacked out I was, and I don't think I've just ever randomly passed out somewhere with my shoes on. But
The best thing was when I moved in, like my house became the party house. I was like, I was great. Once that happened, I was like, okay. Well, I'd pass out with my light on all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
I would I'm not saying I wouldn't pass out at my own parties anywhere around the house, but that was the beauty of always having people over your house. And after the fraternity house, we had the Buck House compound, and we had so many people over in parties. And
that was a good place.
That's a great way to get into one of the infamous stories in my college career. Let's Tarantino this. It ended up with me getting 13 staples in my head.
In your head?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so Kylie and I, we spent a lot of time together in early college. We had a house party at our house. Kylie was there. What do you remember that party at all, Kylie? I guess before I keep going.
Oh yeah, I definitely. How could I forget that party?
It was a holiday party, right? Wasn't I in a Santa suit, or I think you were in an elf suit? It was definitely, I think, a Christmas party.
Was it? I don't remember the theming of it. I just remember
so in
my first aid skills came to use.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. But so in my birthday is October 30th, the day before Halloween. I always love costume parties. I always love gathering and get-togethers. But Buck House, we would throw themed parties. I think we had a golf pros and tennis hose party one time. We had a ABC party, anything but clothes. I know. I'm pretty sure that we had a beer Olympics party, where everybody picked a nation and dressed up. But I'm pretty sure that this was one of our Christmas parties, because I'm pretty sure in all of the photos I'm in like elf gear, elf looking costumes. So we had this party. Long story short, we had this party where I don't know why we were having the party. I think it was just a holiday party. And I think that there was a certain group of people that were not invited to the house, but they ended up showing up to the house, and it steamrolled into, all of a sudden there were a bunch of people at my house that nobody knew who they were, and then people were like, oh, they're with this guy, and I'm pretty sure that this guy was somebody that was like no good. Do you remember any of the setup there, Kylie?
Yeah, it definitely was something like that. I was like, I don't know why the guy was so mad at you though. Like, I don't know what the beef was, but they definitely weren't invited and they should not have been there.
Well, remember that I was in my bedroom. So in our house, all the partying was up front in the common area. And then it was like a kitchen. Then it was the far back hallway that was L-shaped. And so the bedrooms were literally at the farthest end of the house. And I believe I was in my room, and somebody came to me. They were like, Doro's getting jumped. So my roommate, who is one of the nicest people you could ever imagine, he is a hippie. He's into like fish. He's one of those guys that's constantly trying to create peace. I think that he stepped into a brawl or a fight, and he was trying to break people up. Next thing you know, I guess he got punched from the side or in the face, and this guy doesn't fight. I think I've seen him choke somebody one time in his life, and I was like, whoa, that's the maddest this man's ever gotten. And so they run into my room. They're like, yeah, Doro's getting jumped. He's getting beat. And all I remember is running outside. And I don't know how many people are there. And I'm just like, oh man, this dude's getting jumped. And I just started punching people. And I just remember, like, I don't know this guy. Boom. I don't know this guy. Boom. And then the next thing you know, out of nowhere, I feel just like a hit on the head. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? And like all of a sudden, there's blood running down my face. I got hit with a Heineken bottle, which apparently are some of the hardest beer bottles to break. Has anybody heard this?
I don't know.
Huh?
Maybe the
I
green
believe
ones
it.
are.
Am I making this
I have
up?
no idea.
I feel
Maybe
like they're
just
pretty thick.
just to sound cooler.
If it makes it sound cooler, then yeah. But I either have a really thick head. This person must have hit me with too much of the bottle, but the bottle didn't break, which I guess I wish it would have, because the cut wouldn't have been as much. But from my recollection, after he hit me, there was a few more punches thrown. All I remember after that is like everybody getting me into my bathroom, because my bathroom was right where the fight was happening. And all I remember is Kylie sitting with me either until we decided to call an ambulance, until the ambulance came. What do you remember from that time?
I did not see the fight at all. I was there with some friends too, some of my lifeguarding friends, because I was a lifeguard then at Discovery Cove, and I'm pretty sure I had to go into work the next morning too. And I just remember people being like, C-Rod got hit in the head. There's blood everywhere. So my first aid skills, of course, had to kick in after who knows how many drinks I had had.
Yeah.
And
We're
yeah,
both
you had
hammered.
blood like everywhere. So I was applying pressure, trying to, stop the bleeding, which was hard because you were pretty drunk. So there's lots of blood.
Yeah.
And then, we had to call the ambulance, and you got carted off in the ambulance to go get
I
your
don't
head.
think I wanted to go. I think I was forced to go.
I have a cat joining me. Uh-oh.
It's all right. We pushed through it.
There we go. Sorry. But yeah, I remember you just getting like carted off in the ambulance, and we were like, what just happened? Why did someone just hit him on the head with the beer bottle?
Yeah, I'll share those pictures, because those are always my favorite pictures to see, because they're really terribly filmed. They're from like small things. But I think I remember not wanting to go. I remember being
You did
so
not want to
hammered.
go.
All you
Yeah,
were
you
just
did not
saying
want to
is
go.
you're bleeding everybody kept coming in. I remember people coming in and checking me. There's so much blood, and you're just, it's because he's drunk. And I remember wanting to just get up, and you're like, no, you have to sit down. I wanted to like pass out because I was so drunk and tired. You're like, you have to stay awake.
Mm-hmm.
These all sound right, but
worried about concussions.
yeah, there was concussions people were worried about. And I remember getting real sober by the time I got to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was just like on the gurney in the middle of the waiting room, because they had already put like glue on it, like numbing glue. And I got my staples just like in the hallway. They just came over, they put the staples in, they monitored me for like an hour or two, and they're like, all right, you can go home. I don't remember how I got home. I don't remember if I took a taxi, because there wasn't Uber.
Did someone go to the hospital with you?
No.
No one went in the ambulance with you?
I don't think so.
No.
I'd have to ask my mom. I think I was on the phone with my mom at some point.
We were definitely talking to your parents, I think, at one point. Yeah. Yeah. It was probably the best call to get you to the hospital, though.
Great story.
Yeah.
Great story.
Yeah.
Everybody was fine. Everybody got home. Everybody had a good time. Nick, any crazy fight stories or just absolute chaotic stories from your times that you can remember? Anything like that?
I mean, there's a few where people weren't invited, and then you gotta handle that. Dude, I have a few like some that are like really don't paint my friends in good lights, and then
I heard that
some others that like we got a gun pulled on us once, resulting from one of these fights at a party. One of my frat brothers, CJ, just worked this one kid, like one-on-one, just worked them. But then the next day, the kid showed up to intramural football with a gang of people or a group of people, call it whatever you want, but they didn't even gaggle fuck of kids from the hood. But we were playing a whole different team. I don't even think these kids were part of the school or the fraternity. All I know is like halftime, there's like this truck that's on the other side of the field where no one else is. It's like, well, that's weird. And sure as shit, once play stops, they come over and then
Yeah.
fight breaks out. They start getting their asses kicked again. Then a gun comes out.
That's crazy.
I think Surge actually got pistol whipped with it, which was crazy. Well, they left one. They left one of their people, like, and that was bad. It was just like a group of people around one person, like,
Yeah.
then they came back, but it was a whole thing. But and then there's other ones, but like I said, the other
we
ones
have the
don't
same
necessarily
sense of
paint
chaos.
people in the best of light, you know,
No.
holding up unconscious people, kicking them in the face and stuff.
All right.
I
Kylie,
I wasn't there for that. I wasn't there. I probably would have been like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Like, but like it was one of those things. I like the next day I heard about it.
Yeah.
I was like, "What the fuck?"
let's move on to conservation.
Yes.
Good segue.
I know that you probably don't party like we used to back in the day. Last question about just college. How different does that college time feel from then to now for you?
Oh, it's like a whole different like world now. I do miss the college days. I think I know I enjoyed college. I had fun in college. I'm glad I got to like have a good college experience because now, adulting, real world, working 24/7, definitely a lot busier. And sometimes I wish I could just have no cares and go back to a Kappa Sig frat party.
Kappa Sig frat parties. Well, during the bottle incident story, you brought up that you worked at Discovery Cove. You were a lifeguard.
Mhm.
Before we get into your animal work and what you do with amazing animals, what I want to walk through is your early animal work. Talk to me about conservation efforts and realizing, hey, after college, what made you want to make that a priority and how you got into that field.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to work with animals since as long as I can remember, since I was like a little kid. And I grew up in Indiana, so my whole family's still up there. And I moved down to Orlando to go to UCF and get my degree in psychology my goal was a whale trainer at SeaWorld. So that was always my passion. Started working at Discovery Cove as a lifeguard just to kind of get my foot in the door. And I ended up like right at my last year of college. I was a whale watch trainer at Shamu Stadium, which is like a glorified babysitter for the killer whales. So they used to have someone there 24/7, just making sure everything was good check on the whales, would just get like, a lot of laundry done and make all the jello for the whales for the day. Yep.
Did you get to
So
swim
it
with
was,
them?
no, did not get to touch them. So which is probably smart. I was just, a little night watch trainer is what they call the position. And while I was doing that, I applied and actually got a job at the Pets Ahoy show then at SeaWorld. So that was actually contracted.
Oh.
So I was like right when I graduated college, my first real like hands-on animal job. And that was with a company called Joel Slavin's Professional Animals. So he had all these contracts with like SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Jacksonville Zoo, Columbus Zoo. They did all this like traveling, it was all the rescue dogs and cats.
Those were
And
the like 3 or 4 shows a day where you sat in the auditorium and they did like
yep,
watch the birds fly around or
yep.
come up here and hold this flamingo and stuff, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had all like, God, we had like 100 dogs and cats, but it was cool. Like they were all rescued from the shelter. My dog and one of my cats, I actually trained at that show, and now they're my pets now. So that's kind of fun. And yeah,
That's
I did that for a
awesome.
couple of years, and it definitely working there instilled like a really hard work ethic because it was such a fast paced job. Like we had 5 shows a day, and if you did not have like 2 things in your hands at all times, loading, unloading animals, letting dogs out, taking them for walks, cleaning all the cats. I mean, you wouldn't get done with your day. So you had to hustle, which I think was a great starting point as like my first animal career. And that was like always my passion. And that's how I met Brian, my partner. He was a dolphin trainer actually at Discovery Cove, and I was a lifeguard, and we hit it off. We've been together for 15 years now. So
You
it's
got
definitely
everything from Discovery Cove.
literally like it's funny how like just those paths take you like exactly where you should end up. So it was a really fun start to my career and led me to having all of this that I run now, which is kind of crazy.
I think that's incredible because so many times when you talk to somebody about why they went to college or why they moved somewhere for college, it was always, oh, well, I came for this or I did this. Well, what do you do now? Something completely different that degree's not for, that I didn't go to college for. And you came down to be a whale trainer. You became a whale trainer. Other opportunities opened. You kept your pets forever. You have a partner out of it. Like, that's incredible. That's
Yeah, there
incredible.
was to me, there was, like, no like, that's what I was gonna do. Like, there was
Yeah.
no other option. That's what my passion was, and there was no way I could do anything else.
You
So,
lived in
I did it.
Indiana. Why Wales? Why a whale trainer?
I just for one, I love Florida, so I do not do cold temperatures. I literally moved down to UCF, I think 2 weeks after I graduated high school. So summer started out with summer classes. What was that? Summer A, summer B classes, and literally moved down 2 weeks after high school. I was like, I cannot do wintertime in Indiana. I want to be in Florida. I want to work at SeaWorld. And honestly, I mean, I think watching Free Willy when I was like really little, I was like, that is so cool. Like the kid and the connection he had with that whale.
Yeah.
Granted, not like letting it free because that probably wasn't gonna be very good in reality, but just like to me, the connection that that kid had with a killer whale was like, I want to do that. That's so cool. I think I watched Free Willy probably like 200 times when I was little.
I don't remember the last time I've seen it, but I watched that movie a ton. I have a question, and I guess before I ask this question, are there any questions that you have about early conservation work, any of that?
What was your you said you did the Chips Ahoy show or, Dogs Ahoy?
Pets Ahoy! Pets
Pets Ahoy.
Ahoy! Uh-huh.
What was your favorite part of doing that show?
But I really liked we had the fun on the beach section, and it was all the animals doing different behaviors. So there was like a cat weave cat that would weave between your legs, and like a dog that would do rolls, which my dog does that.
Mhm.
And like they'd hula hoop, jump rope with them. So it was just kind of a fun section of the show that you got to do like one-on-one behaviors with the animals, and it was kind of
Mhm.
just like you doing that on stage. So I think that was probably my favorite part of the show.
Cool.
Were you
So
ever
very fun.
nervous to have all those people in front of you?
Oh yeah, I think my first show I was like, because I don't like actually like being on stage. I'm not like a theatrical person at all. I like the animals of it. So I remember my boss, Shannon and Martha, and they're still all of those girls are still my good friends to this day. We're actually doing girls' night tomorrow. So it's kind of fun. Like I made lifelong friends there too. But man, they used to be like, you have to woohoo louder. You have to, be more expressive. And I'm like, I don't want to. So I did not like the like showy part of it, but it was a really fun couple of years that we had there.
That's awesome.
I love that. That's an awesome job to have. I remember really early on when Kinsley was little, taking her to the show here at Busch Gardens, and she loved it. It
Yep.
got canceled during COVID,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
they
So
just recently brought it back.
yeah, well, that company is actually out of business now. So who I used to
Mm.
work for, he lost all of those contracts when COVID happened. So,
Mm.
which I get, like the zoos are like, well, nobody's coming here. We can't pay you to do shows that nobody's here to see. So I think SeaWorld's trying to get kind of things going on their own. But yeah, it was kind of sad that when COVID happened, that Joel Slavens is no longer doing any of that now.
It makes
Mm.
you wonder, why can't they do it on their own? They have all these animals. Why can't they just?
Right? I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning behind it was. It was definitely a lot of like work and staffing and
Yeah,
everything.
I'm
So
sure.
maybe it's just like easier, like, yeah, we'll let someone
I
else
was to
do that.
say, logistically, probably easier
Yeah.
just to pay
Yeah.
somebody to put on the whole production.
Yeah.
So one thing that sucks that we lost from COVID for those 2 parks, because they were a lot of fun, and then obviously they were air conditioned, so there was somewhere to go and sit
Right?
inside.
Yeah.
But in 2010, there was a infamous death at SeaWorld, and in 2010, you would have been working SeaWorld, is this correct?
Yeah. I started doing night watch after the Tillicum incident happened,
Okay.
which was, it was very sad. It definitely changed a lot about SeaWorld. There was no more waterworks with the whales. And, I think the people working there definitely realize, the animals I work with, I understand they're wild animals and that there's a inherent risk to working with these animals. So I think it's really sad. Obviously, the incident that happened kind of puts things into perspective sometimes, but just the public, backlash that came with it was kind of sad.
I think I remember there being such big backlash against SeaWorld, and they were trying to shut it down, and they were saying all of these things about all of a sudden, the conservation work that SeaWorld was doing wasn't actually work, and they were just some greedy corporation. What was your take on that? And I guess, are you familiar with, Blackfish that came out later?
Yeah, definitely watched it, and it definitely they edited things to make certain situations look like something it wasn't, which they should get all the awards for editing. And of course, it shed a bad light on some of that stuff when it just wasn't reality. So the
Mm,
reality of what SeaWorld does is they do a lot of conservation work. I think I just saw they hit the milestone of taking in and rehabbing over 43,000 species of animals. Well, not species, but animals. And so, that kind of work is super important, getting an injured wildlife, rehabbing it, getting it back out into the wild. So that's a huge number that they just hit. And, having animals in human care and getting to see them up close and personal, like I don't know if I'll ever get to see a killer whale in the wild, like I got to see one up close there and it inspired me to do what I'm doing now.
yeah.
So getting to see animals up close and having that human connection, and especially a lot of people aren't going to be able to go see a lot of these animals in their wild places, will hopefully, do the right thing of inspiring people to think about our impacts on the ecosystem. And, for SeaWorld, I saw the whale. They got excited to do well, I should say they do get excited to do the shows. Like, it's fun for them, and if they don't want to, they don't do them. You're not gonna make a killer whale do something it doesn't wanna do. So, it's
Yeah.
all about positive reinforcement and, having the animals have that choice. But to me, like, they got excited. The dogs and cats, when they would hear the music turn on for the, pre-show set, like, they would get so excited. That's a super fun thing that they're getting able to do. They're getting lots of treats for doing it. So a lot of that gets twisted into the wrong context when it's a good place that does good work and helps with conservation and helps with education. So, hopefully, people can realize that and know that not everything you see online and videos is reality.
Yeah. No, Nick, are you familiar with the Telecom story
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Blackfish?
yeah, it's kinda hard living in Florida and not
Hmm.
knowing about it. But to me, I always appreciated these places because a lot of the time those animals wouldn't have survived in the wild, and that's why they're still in captivity, because if they could survive in the wild, they would have been released back to the wild. So, I don't know, like, the whole backlash, I think, is just people that are just too narrow-minded to see the bigger picture of things, and but to me, I've always appreciated what the SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and all the zoos and stuff like that have done. But SeaWorld specifically, they, injured marine life, they're the people that get called. It's not like it's Fish and
Yeah.
Wildlife. It's no, it's SeaWorld that's going to get that manatee or
Hmm.
Crazy.
and that's like you if that number for over 45,000 you said.
Yeah. I think it was 43,000 animals
Yeah,
that
I
they've
mean,
rescued. Like,
that's
that's
insane.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
and
costs
just in
so much money
Florida,
to do all of that.
is that just the Florida side, or is
I'm
that
not sure if it might be
company-wide?
it might be the whole company.
Well,
Mm,
even so, it's still a
yeah.
staggering number that have been rehabilitated, then re-released. I mean,
Yeah.
Agreed.
that's so it's even higher that haven't been able to get re-released, I'm
Mm.
sure.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
And I think a lot of people's qualms sometimes with like SeaWorld or Busch Gardens, they see the cheetahs, right? And they're like, oh, well, a cheetah's supposed to run, and why are they in this small cage? Or for just like Blackfish. So if you're not familiar with the story of Telecom, there was a trainer who was diving with Telecom, and they Telecom just ate them, right? Bit them,
I
No, like, used him as a toy.
the toy. Yeah. Something vicious enough to
Not
where,
very good.
yeah, the trainer passed in the tank, and then they changed a lot of things. The trainers don't get in the water. They still do with the dolphins, but not the whales. And that became the documentary of Blackfish, which I remember seeing Blackfish, and I believe it was because of you, where I was like, man, like this is a crazy documentary. But then you think about it on how you edit and you make it look like a one-way perspective. And like Nick said,
Mhm.
there's another side of it to where a lot of these animals would be out in the wild, if they could. And it's always interesting to think about. Did you ever work at Busch Gardens?
Nope, never worked at Busch Gardens.
Mm,
Nope, I always
I
stayed in
love that
Orlando.
place. Did you ever
Yeah.
work with dolphins? That was always something I thought would be awesome.
I did. I got to do an internship. It was
Mm,
my last year of college, and I spent the summer in Hawaii on the Big Island
yeah.
at Dolphin Quest, and that was amazing. That was probably my favorite summer ever. So just got to be an intern, learning how to train dolphins, take care of them every
Hell yeah.
day. I remember my first day, they're like, "Okay, go ahead and everyone jump on this dolphin. We got to do an ultrasound. She's pregnant, so everyone get in the water and grab on." We're like, "What? What? This is our first day as an intern,
Mhm.
and we get to be like holding the dolphin to get
We
an
have to
ultrasound done."
manhandle this dolphin into
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
submission.
And it was so cool by the end of the summer, that dolphin gave birth,
Oh,
and I was literally in the water with her
it's
as
wild.
she's got, like, flukes out, swimming by you, wanting some belly rubs as she's, like, giving birth, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pretty
and they
awesome
just
summer.
swim while they're birthing, and the babies just,
Yeah.
like, fall out while they're swimming, right? Yeah, that's
Yep,
crazy.
yep. Yeah, and then
That's
they
awesome.
did some cool research. I remember we would hold mom and baby, and we would actually get, like, milk samples, and then they use that to, like, be able if a dolphin, like a baby dolphin gets stranded or,
Did you
something
say
happens to
milk? Can
mom.
you milk a
Yeah,
dolphin?
yeah, yeah, so then they would, like, analyze that milk. That way they know how to, like, give the proper milk to our orphan baby dolphins
It's
that
like
might
Meet
get
the
in.
Fockers. "Can you milk
Yeah,
me, Greg?"
yeah.
I had no idea
Milk
you could
milk
milk a
dolphins.
dolphin.
It's
That's the most interesting thing about you is you've milked a dolphin. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, helped out with that, I guess. Yeah.
All right, well, let's fast forward and take the leap of faith. I think that we could talk about all these cool jobs for, a whole nother episode, but walk me through the leap of faith and going from working at a place like Discovery Cove, SeaWorld, etc., and starting a nonprofit and what that risk and what that journey looks like.
Yeah, it's definitely been kind of a crazy ride. So, like I said, I met my significant other, Brian, and he had just started Amazing Animals as a nonprofit when we first started dating, and he had like reptiles all over his house, and was kind of just known as the person who, if your cousin has a pet bearded dragon they don't want anymore, like, oh, my friend Brian will take it, or a snake, or a frog, or like lizards, whatever. So he just started taking in all these.
Lizards.
Yeah, we had iguanas, tegus, we've had all sorts of monitors.
Oh, not like regular lizards. My kids catch lizards
No, no, no,
back
no,
in the
like,
day.
no.
like, people that had them as pets and then don't want them anymore, so he started this nonprofit, and I remember our days off, we would, like, do birthday parties. Our first year, we, like, did all the libraries for free just to, like, you know, get our name out there and kind of slowly go. So the first like 5 years, we were in a neighborhood, just did really reptiles, and we kind of both were like, what is our goal here? Like, do we want to keep going with this? Because if we do, we kind of need to get property and just like grow it. Then, so we ended up doing that. We moved out here to St. Cloud like 12 years ago almost. So we have a couple acres, and we would just, again, work our other full time zoo jobs, do amazing animals just on the side to make money, save it up, build an exhibit, clear out some more space, and then just kind of wait to see what animal we might be called to take in. And then I think it's been about 10 years now that I've been full time with Amazing Animals. So, first
Wow.
couple years on the property, we were just slowly building, growing, getting little things here and there. And we had some parrots. We get calls for those a lot. Some
But right in
skunks.
your own home, just it's your
Yeah,
backyard,
literally my
which I think
backyard.
is one of the craziest things. What's that like, having to get permitted for that and to have all these exotic animals literally in your backyard?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of regulations. We've already had a random USDA inspection this year and Florida Fish and Wildlife, so they can
Mm.
stop by whenever they want, and everything has to be, in compliance, following their standards. Which it's funny, it's always fun. Like USDA is obviously like the federal government, and then we have Florida Fish and Wildlife that we have to abide by as well. Like they don't share the same rules, but we have to know everybody's rules. But we're in, really great standings with all of that. Lots of permits, insurance, and we made sure we're like outside of city limits. We're not in HOAs. We're on agricultural land, so we can do eco-agro tourism out here. So there's definitely a lot more logistically that goes into just having, it's not like, oh, yay, fun. I have some animals in my backyard, but it's definitely a
But
lot logistically.
you have exotic animals. I mean, you have
Yes.
kangaroos. You have like I was just I had the pleasure visiting with my kids the other month, a few weeks ago,
Yeah, a couple weeks
for
ago.
the
That's fun.
second time, which was awesome.
I want to go.
Dude,
Yeah, you should
like
come.
kangaroos, like we were sitting there looking and
Sloth.
petting
They had me at
kangaroos.
sloth.
Uh-huh.
They like
Lemur,
the
lemur,
lemur.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Capybaras.
yeah,
That's everyone's favorites. They're the
got to lay
best.
down and pet capybaras.
Mhm.
I mean, rattle off some examples of just what exotic animals you have
Yes, we have about a little over 100 animals now. So
in
they
her
definitely keep me
backyard.
busy.
Backyard.
Yes, a handful of little primates, some marmosets, we have cotton-top, lemurs, owl monkey, bush baby. My favorites are definitely my Joffrey's cats. I'm a cat person now, so I love the
Are those the one
cats.
with the ears?
You're probably thinking of a caracal, which I do have one of
Uh,
those. So we have a caracal, we have some bobcats, we have some African wildcats, kangaroos, muntjacks. We do have some birds of prey, a couple owls species, hawk, parrots, sloths, tortoises,
you have
all the
Florida
barnyard
bobcats?
animals. Yeah.
Nice. Do you get to rescue them if they're hurt or anything like that?
So we don't rehab animals. That's like
Okay.
a whole that's a lot that goes into it. But we work with rehabbers. So actually, one of our bobcats, Willow, was deemed non-releasable. Someone found her as a baby, and I guess they thought they were helping and kept her for a while. And now she's imprinted, so she's just way too
Yeah.
used to people. Didn't really learn how to hunt like she needed to. So she was deemed non-releasable by it has to be a rehabber, a vet, and the state. All kind of like go, okay, that animal is not fit to survive in the wild, and then we'll be a place that can take them in and give them a forever home. So
That's awesome.
that's how we got one of our bobcats. Yeah.
That's super cool.
How does one acquire like a kangaroo?
Well, our first kangaroo, we do work with a lot of facilities. We actually last year became ZAA accredited, which is the Zoological Association of America. So, we have our state and federal rules that we have to hit, but we like to go above and beyond and have, an accreditation as well now to kind of show that we do a lot more than what the minimum requirements are. And so we work with a lot of facilities, and there was a little place over in Mare Island that was unfortunately closing down. It's expensive taking care of all these animals, and that's, a big factor as to why some places end up not being able to continue. So this place was unfortunately closing down, and they had a handful of animals they asked us to help place. And so we ended up taking in Rufus, our adult male red kangaroo, and he was alone, but they're pretty social. So then we have another friend that runs a zoo, and he's like, you can't just have one kangaroo. So here's a couple more kangaroos. So now we have 5 kangaroos.
And that
And they
day
all
was
get along.
massive.
They're
Yeah.
all
Oh yeah, they love each other. They're
Yeah.
so cool.
That's awesome.
That's
That's
awesome.
so. Can I tell my lemur story?
Sure.
Yes. One of my favorite things to say is when I first visited Kylie, when Kinsley was, I don't know, 2 or 3. I mean, this was close to 10 years ago, or probably 7, 8 years ago. Went on, and she has her family of lemurs. And I was like, can I go in there? And she's like, no, they're aggressive. They'll scratch you. They'll bite you. I was like, but can I go in there? Like, I love lemurs. One of my favorite animals. Can I just, go pet them? Can I hold them? She's like, no. She's like, okay. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, but not long. So I got to go into the lemur cage. He jumped on and he was picking my beard. And I think the other one jumped on me too, right? Because you had 2 or 3 of them.
I think just Babs jumped on you. Bayo's pretty shy. He doesn't get
Okay.
on people, but Babs was hanging out on
It's
you.
down in my Snapchat memory somewhere, but it was one of the coolest experiences. I got to go in. I was only in there for like a minute, maybe 2. And he was just there nibbling and on me. It was just, I had my phone out. It was really cool. So I just,
See,
I feel
I
honored.
like getting to make connections, and I don't usually take guests in with primates,
Yeah.
but you were an exception to that rule.
Yeah, he's
exception.
family.
Yeah.
exception.
Yeah.
She didn't let me do it when I went to visit this time. So yeah.
No, they're much more antisocial now, and they had 2 babies with them now.
Yeah, it's a much bigger enterprise.
Yeah.
Raising animals is now than it was back then. It's awesome. It's awesome. What was the other thing? that we did with the other animal. I don't remember, but we'll get there. I want to ask. So these are all fun questions, fun stories. You have these amazing animals, no pun intended. But I want to talk to you about the other side, right, of a nonprofit. And you mentioned the financial stress, but what do people underestimate about how hard these nonprofits are? Because you have so many moving pieces. I know that your team is so lean. And I said you're literally working from your backyard. Your house is there, your pool, and then boom, your business. What do what do people underestimate about nonprofits?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, like, we're basically running a small family business, is what we're doing. So it's a lot of work. It's nice having the nonprofit status because we are able to take in, donations, and we do a lot of education in the community, which is super important with that. But yeah, I mean, it's running a small business. It's having to, make sure we have enough staffing, and we make sure we have plenty saved up when, you're talking about animals. A lot of emergencies pop up. Things break. We need to build new buildings. We need to fix exhibits. We have veterinary bills. I mean, we get literally Walmart is delivering, I think, close to $400 to $500 worth of produce tomorrow, and that's every single week. So we get literally fresh produce delivered right from Walmart. We can eat it too if we want, but it's a lot financially to do all of this now and to have to pay, staff to help at the level we're at with having 100 animals. We do private tours here, so that's kind of a nice, just like guest experience. We're not open to the public since it's literally in my backyard, so you can't just show up and walk in. But it's really nice doing the private tours. It's kind of a unique experience, a little bit different than a bigger zoo if you would go there. But
If anybody lives in the Orlando area, you guys are in St. Cloud. I'm just gonna plug this now. I
yeah,
don't mean to cut you off, but if you have kids, if you don't have kids, if you like animals and you want to go on a day or something,
mhm.
I highly recommend doing a private tour at Amazing Animals Inc. I will post the information. I will share this to everybody because yes, I know Kylie. I have been there, but I have 3 kids under 10 years old. All of them talked about that day for about 3 days after, and if you have kids, you know that their attention span is so short that they should have stopped talking about it like an hour after. They were so enthralled, they had a great time. Kylie walked us through all of the animals, and I'm sure if you asked for her, she'd give you a tour, even though she said she retired from it. But I highly recommend if you have kids or you just like animals to visit the Animals Inc. But
Oh, thank
continue.
you. No, I
Yeah.
love that. And I mean, it's kind of fun. That's like why we do what we do here. So literally our motto is to inspire the next generation to do something amazing for our
Mm.
natural ecosystem. So, having kids talk about it after they visit is wonderful. Yeah, you got to have enough staff to be able to do all the tours. I'm really busy all summer. I do a lot of offsite programs. So we go to a lot of the libraries and summer camps. I do like a nature camp every week that I bring the animals to. So it's really fun to, again, get to bring a lot of animals out that you wouldn't necessarily get to see up close and personal. Kids get a really cool experience getting to be, up close and hands on with a lot of these animals. And hopefully, again, we're making a little bit of a difference by being able to do all of this. But
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot of hard work. It's blood, sweat, and tears. And then having this in my backyard, it's literally 24/7. Like, this is a lifestyle. It's not just a job for us. It's a lifestyle. Brian and I rarely take vacations together. We usually have to travel separately. So one of us is always on property. His parents actually live right behind us, so our properties connect. So they help us out all the time. They help do all the landscaping and they're just wonderful. So it's definitely, like I said, literally like running a small little family business, but we have 100 lives that we care for every single day.
Talk to me about the emotional weight, right? Burnout that comes with it. When you have this many animals, like you said, 24/7 job because you have so many different animals that I'm sure have all different times and things that they need to be cared for, some more than others, some less than others. But you mentioned veterinary bills. I know that unfortunately you have animals sometimes that you have to see through medical emergencies or unfortunately they
Mhm.
pass. When you're doing it for this many years, how do you stop from getting burnt out and just being like, let's get less animals, let's not expand? I know that's your livelihood, which is probably a part of it too, but just walk me through that.
It can be hard. Last month was a pretty rough month that made me want to just like, I think I could just go do something else. Because yeah, you have loss, you have just working outside 24/7. I wake up at 6 a.m. and do my first checks on all the animals. Literally first thing I wake up, I go check on the animals. Before I go to bed, usually like 9:30, I do a lap, I check on all the animals and make sure they're all good for the night. I think what gets me through, I really strive and think my strongest suit is being able to know the animals each individually so well that I can tell, they can't talk to you. They can't tell you when they're feeling sick or when something's wrong. So I'm pretty good at being able to read that behavior and act really quickly so that hopefully, we can help out the best we can. Because yeah, you get animals that get sick, you get animals that get hurt, you got staff that doesn't show up when they should, or they're like, yeah, I'm done, I'm gonna quit now, and then I'm the one that's gonna work the next month straight until I get somebody hired and in to help. So if someone needs a day off, if someone calls in, I'm the one who's stepping in to do that. There goes my days off for the week. I will easily do 12-hour days on a regular basis out here. So
Yeah.
burnout definitely is real, but also I think the same thing that keeps me going is like I have all these animals to care for, right? Like nobody else is gonna do it. Nobody else is gonna do it the way I want it done and the way I'm gonna do it, like, the best to my ability. Because I don't have kids, these are my children in my perspective, like, I take their care very seriously, I wanna give them the best diets and veterinary care, and, I don't care if it's midnight and I hear something. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I was literally 4 a.m. and I heard my kinkajous like going nuts, which they don't usually do. So I wake up because I'm like, okay, what's happening outside? And there's an armadillo running around. They were yelling at it. So like you're literally woken up in the middle of the night, to check on things. So
What are
it,
your neighbors? I know that your Brian's parents live behind you,
mhm.
but what do your neighbors to the sides think about having all these crazy animals around them?
We have amazing neighbors, so we're very fortunate. They enjoy the animals. Some of them have
Do they get
grandkids.
discounts?
Oh, they can come whenever they want. Yeah. One of my neighbors has chickens. He gives me chicken eggs all the time. And then in return, whenever he travels, I watch his chickens for him. So it's a good deal.
Bartering? Eggs are
So yeah.
expensive these days.
Right? Yeah, he gives me chicken eggs all the time. So, yeah, it's nice to have really good neighbors. And, again, we try to keep it pretty quiet and low key. We don't want to be crazy. I know we have animals, but we don't have anything that's like too crazy or dangerous either, which is probably a good thing. And again, we're accredited. We have a lot of protocols and a lot of things in place. Luckily, no crazy emergencies have ever happened. But, for hurricanes, we have plans and all of that. So, yeah, it's a lot to really think about, and, I'm in charge of making sure over 100 animals are alive every single day and have food and water and enrichment, and they all seem happy and content, and I'll do that because that's what keeps me going is, like, knowing that I can provide that for them and that they when I just got back from a vacation a couple weeks ago, I went to Yellowstone with my family. So having little trips, Brian stayed here. So I knew everything was taken care of. I got to get away for a week and kind of unplug and unwind and have some family time. But let me tell you, I got back, I think at like 1 a.m. And I was like, I gotta go see everybody. And my fennec fox, when he even hears me, he loses his mind. So, when you get to come back from being gone for a week and the animals give you that kind of reaction,
Yeah.
that's why you do it. Yeah.
I have one dog and I've only had it for 12 years. I couldn't imagine having all these animals. I mean, some of the coolest animals you have to come home to. I would miss that too.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
miss that
so
too.
it's fun. Again, a lot of work. I don't think a majority of people could, do what we do on a daily basis and have the lifestyle that we have to, we give up our life to do this, but it's the most rewarding job that I could think of.
I
So,
love that.
yeah,
I
it's
love
pretty
that.
fun.
Nick, any questions around just the mental health side of what Kylie does with animals and
Well, I guess more so is is it how do you handle not being able to vacation with your partner?
We try to plan like one really fun trip each year to take together. So we usually will go to like we've done Brazil a couple times, Peru. We'll try to do like little like weekend cruises or like, a boat day to be able to, get out and enjoy a little bit. But it's definitely a balance. And he does a lot of, he loves the business side of stuff. And he's actually on the board for a couple other nonprofit organizations. So that keeps him very busy. He has to travel a lot for it. So I don't know. I guess, again, it's our life and we just make it all work. We enjoy the time we get to have together on the quieter moments, but
Right.
usually it's like, huh, was this done today? How was this animal today? Did you go to the store for me to get this? Can you stop by the vet and pick up this? Can you know, fix this for me? Always fixing stuff. So yeah, it's definitely like I said, it's a lifestyle that we just always both wanted. So I think when we both want this so much, then we know the sacrifice is worth it because we're both on the same page for what we want to do.
Share the same passion. I mean,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah, you
It's
have
huge.
to. Or
And
I don't see how a normal relationship could work if one person's like, I'm doing my 9 to 5 and then someone else like I don't think that could work. We have the same exact passion. So that definitely helps us.
I don't think it does work unless you guys are in sync
Yeah.
like that. I mean, it's amazing because not only do you have your relationship, but you have your work relationship that can't be strained because all of these animals' lives depend on you guys being in sync. I mean, again, that's just huge. It's huge.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
love that.
I
I
think
love that
we're
for you.
both good. Like we put that first, we put our animals first.
Yeah.
And we're both like, that's what we expect. Like that's what I'd want. I
Yeah.
don't need him to like put me first if something else is going on out here.
And what do you think younger Kylie, right, that had all of these visions
Oh
and
my God.
dreams and passions, like what would she say about the life that you've built now, which is, everything that you've wanted?
I don't think I'd have any clue I'd be working with the species I'm working with because I really wanted marine animals. That was like, I'm gonna work with whales and dolphins. That's my passion. So it's interesting to take like different opportunities and where it's led me now is like I said, exactly where I feel like I should be. But I don't think I mean, I would know I'm definitely working with animals. Like there was, like I said, no other option in my brain of what I was gonna do. But to know that this is like my partner and we have it all in our backyard, like we're running our own place, I don't think I would have believed you that
Mm,
if someone told me that 10 years ago.
yeah. Well, love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I think what I want to wrap up with is let's talk about why it's still worth it, right? We touched a little bit on the mental health side and how different of a life and how much time that's commit to, but for all the like, exhaustion and stress and sacrifice, like you said, these animals, they make it all worth it. And I think what also comes with that, right, is just the education and the long-term impacts of what you're doing. Let's start let's start with a trip that you take. You mentioned taking a trip to Peru or something, right? Don't you do some work, we were talking Brazil or South America maybe, where you're tracking something, right? Am I on point?
Yep. Yep.
Am
You
I
sure
saying the right
are.
words?
Yep.
Talk to me about that, that education that you do, because I remember that being awesome, even though I can't fully remember right now. But
Yeah, I mean, I could do a whole podcast talking about my Joffrey's cats. They
yeah,
are my passion project at this point. So we have four Joffrey's cats here. I raised two of them from kittens, Rio and Aries. They are my like heart animals.
if you don't know what a Joffrey cat is, how do you
You gotta
explain
look.
that to somebody?
So they're like, think of like a house cat that's spotted like a leopard jaguar, right? Beautiful spotted coat on them, most of them. They're like 6 to 9 pounds around there. That's mine are in
Do you
between.
know, Nick?
But
Do you know these cats?
I'm having to look them up.
Do you have one on your
yeah,
shirt?
I do have one on my shirt. So
Look at the
that's one of the
kitty.
Joffrey's cats. Yeah. So they look like a cute little house cat, right? So people are like, I had no clue that these cats exist. And they're found in the southern part of South America. And like I said, I just fell in love with them here. The relationship that they like when they pick their people and they bond to you, like it's unlike any other relationship I've built with any other animal out here. So I was like, people have no clue about this cat. It's now my favorite animal on the planet. So like, how do other people not know? I need to teach more people about the my favorite thing, right? So I started following some people that work with Joffrey's cats on social media that do some research with them in South America because there's really not much information even out there. And so I decided I wanted to make a whole day to celebrate them, right? Because there's all these fun animal days. We have like calendars of all the different animal days of the year. So I was like, well, I'm going to make a Joffrey's Cat Day so that I can teach people about them. So I just decided one day, like, yep, I'm going to make them a day and I'm going to tell everybody I can, and we're going to make it a whole thing. And then I want to raise money and support conservation work. So I did. January 28th is now World Joffrey's Cat Day. It's kind of cool to see
Crazy.
people like literally all over the world sharing it now and celebrating every year. The first couple years, I was like probably that annoying person on social media, like, don't forget to share this. Don't forget to like celebrate with us. Don't forget to do this. And like this last year was our 6th year now. Uh, and I didn't have to do anything. I just saw like, all these big zoos across the US sharing it, some bigger like animal conservation people sharing it. And then I've raised,
How cool.
I don't even know how many thousands of dollars for Joffrey's cat conservation. So we've gone to Brazil a couple times. We've done a capture campaign. I actually got asked to be a member of Felines do Pampa. So shout out to them. They do amazing work down in Brazil, and they're trapping wild Joffrey's cats. So we got to go out into the field with them. We trapped a couple wild Joffrey's cats. We have a vet with us, sedate them, get, blood work, fur samples, measurements, took like parasite samples and stuff. And then fitted them with GPS collars. But they're such a small cat that they can't have just like the satellite that you know where they all are at all times. You have to use the telemetry, and you have to be close enough that it picks up on the telemetry. So then each afternoon, so the mornings we'd spent, seeing if the traps, if we caught any, doing a workup on the cat. And then in the afternoons, they had the collars set so that they kind of save battery time. That just like for like 4 hours in the afternoon, their collars would turn on, and then you could go find them with the telemetry. So you'd have to get within 100 yards to download all the data off of the collar. So we would get close and you could hear there was one cat that she was like literally right in front of us and we couldn't see her. Never saw her. But the thing was like beep, 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 beep. Like she's right here. But it's pretty cool that, they're able to collect that data. They're seeing
What are you
the
What are you
habitat loss.
tracking?
So they're doing a handful of different studies with this. Some of their biggest threats are the habitat loss. Unfortunately, a lot of farmers that had done, natural grasslands and had cattle and stuff are now doing like soy crops and stuff. So their, fields are getting plowed over. How are they using those little pathways now? What kind of impact it's having on their numbers. And there's actually a hybrid zone now, which is kind of cool. This is something we're going to hopefully go down next time and go to the hybrid zone because of all the habitat loss. All these cats that, typically kind of have a little bit more space and share different regions are kind of coming into one space, and Joffrey's cats are hibernizing with southern tiger cats. So all the cats that they're catching in this area are actually not 100% Joffrey's cats. They have tiger cat in them too, which is kind of crazy. So
Tiger cat.
yeah, southern
So are
tiger
you
cat.
saying that like these little cats are mating with these giant tigers? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
no.
Okay.
So not actually a tiger, a southern tiger cat. They look just like a Joffrey's cat. They're very, very closely related, but they have a little bit of different,
Patterns.
ranges that they're found. Yeah, slightly different pattern. It can be really hard to tell them apart. So there's like 7 main cat species in this one area in Brazil. Uh, so then they're doing things like they're putting up road signs. So we have supported these campaigns and being able to give them the money to put up road signs and go out and do this research. And they do what I think is really cool. They build chicken coops for the farmers because these farmers all have these like rinkety dink chicken coops. Like it's super rural, like not many people around, right? Not much going on there. And so their chicken coops are not the best. And
Hmm.
the cats literally, Felipe set up a camera once on one of the coops and literally just kept each night a cat would jump over, grab a chicken, jump right back out of the coop. Well, the farmers don't appreciate that, right? So they'll kill the cats when they see them on their property. So then Felipe went back to that farmer. They built a whole predator-proof cage for the chickens. So kind of just like how we keep our Joffrey's cats in, they built that for the chickens so the Joffrey's cats stay out. And it's really cool because like he's had farmers be like, "Oh, I forgot to like lock my chickens up one night. Like I can't believe I got that one. The cats got him." So instead, these farmers used to like blame the cats all the time, and then they started going, "Oh wait, I need to make sure that my chickens stay safe. It's not the cat's fault. They're hungry and want a meal." And then the farmers obviously get to not lose a bunch of money losing a bunch of their chickens, and they get the eggs, and then the
Yeah.
neighbors all start going, "Oh wait, how'd you build that? Like we need to do that too. We have this issue." So it's kind of cool. I think one of my favorite parts of going down there and going out into the field with them was seeing the relationship that they've built with the local community and how they'll call Felipe if they have an issue, and
Felipe.
Yeah, it gave them a different perspective of the wildlife versus, which honestly, I think a lot of people in the US need to think about that too. Like, this is their home. We are the ones
Yeah.
invading it. We're kind of clearing out all of their space and taking over. So just kind of having people think a little bit differently that it's not everything is ours and how dare them get in and do that or, mess up this. So
I
it
say
was
that to kids all the time, and they're like, "Oh, a bug." I'm like, we're outside. This is their
right,
world. We're
right. Yeah.
living in it."
Alligators in Florida, people are like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
call, I'm like, they're gonna kill it, leave it alone. It's not doing
yeah.
anything. It's being an alligator, right? Like this is where they live. Our homes are going up in their backyards. So yeah, I think it's kind of funny how it is universal, like how people think about wildlife and how it's so important for us to do the education to switch that mindset. And so I love that I've been able to raise oh, thousands and thousands of dollars that we've been able to support the work that they're doing down there.
I just think it's incredible that you started a whole world day about
Yeah,
something, like,
I know.
6
And it's
Yeah.
fun
years of
because
that is
a lot of
awesome.
other people are like, wait, how'd you do that? I want to do that for this
Yeah.
cat. And I'm like, I don't know. I just decided, like, they're like, why'd you pick that day? I'm like, because no other animals were on that day. There was no other animals celebrated on that specific day. And I was like, that's it. We're doing a World Droppers Cat Day. And
That's so
now
cool.
it's hard. I wish I knew how to track like how many people have shared it and posted it now over the years. Like I'm sure hundreds of thousands of people have
Yeah.
joined us in celebrating it now. So it's kind of fun.
I mean, that right there, I think, is where the fulfillment comes from, where
Yeah.
I mean, something as simple as just awareness, even in your, on your property, you have a little, like, canopy where you sit people down and have
Mhm.
education sessions with them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's having the animals we have, I'm not going to have them just for my fun, right? Like I want to make sure
I would.
I
Play
do
with
enjoy
lemurs
them a
all
lot.
day.
But I want them to have a purpose and I want them to be able
Yeah.
to inspire people like when I was little and I went to SeaWorld and got to see whales and I was like, "Oh my god, that's it. This is what I got to do." So I want to be able to give that to other people that get to come and meet our animals and getting to pet the capybaras and feed them and get up close and personal with the sloth is again
Nick, it's
something
so
you're
cool, you should go. You
Dude,
should
yeah.
go.
Yeah,
the
you should come visit. Why
sloths,
hasn't Zero brought you, actually?
because he
That's kind of
hates me,
I've only
right?
been twice ever.
because he hates my
Well, that's
guts
on
and he
you.
doesn't
That's
want to
on you.
share.
Acting like I come to see you every
He
month.
doesn't want to share.
Well, we'll have to plan. We'll have to plan for you guys to come visit for a day.
That
No,
will be awesome.
it's so cool. Even the capybaras, they were something else. I didn't even
Oh yeah.
know like what that was, and they're like
I
big ass
mean,
guinea
we had
pigs.
They're
capybaras
big
before they were
guineas.
cool, and they're pretty fun. We got to see a lot of them in Brazil. That's kind of fun too. Seeing them like all hanging out. Saw a jaguar stalking one at night,
Oh,
hunting it. Uh-huh.
did
Yeah.
it get
Yeah.
it?
No.
Damn.
No. They
Well,
like
hey.
all it was like 20, 30 capybaras like all sitting by like the edge of a pond and one of them saw the jag and they all went right in the water.
It
So
reminds
it's
me of
cool.
like Pokemon.
Right? Yeah, it's cool to see like animals in the wild and then to me that helps me care for them better, like in a sense, like getting to go do these trips that we do and do the conservation work, but also like it makes you think about like naturally what they're doing out there in the wild. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of fun. You're like, no jaguars to scare you here.
Nick, I know that I have a few more things that I want to ask before I wrap it up, but any questions just around the education side of it and long-term impact of what Amazing Animals is doing?
Um, do you have any plans for in the next few years to bring on other species? And if so, can you share that?
We are pretty full right now. You never know what I always say we're full and then we somehow like end up getting other things still. But I don't know. We don't really plan because we take in a lot of expats, a lot of non-releasable wildlife, and then again, just work with other facilities too. Like we have a handful of breeding programs. So I guess you never know what's gonna, decide that it needs to come live here. And if we could, we're not going to do anything big and crazy, that's for sure. There's not going to be tigers and bears hanging out. But you never know what we could get called for. And again, I'm a cat person, so I would love to work with all the different cat species. So if it's cats, I say yes to all of them. But you just never know. We got to just make sure we have, the space and the proper setup and knowledge and are able to to properly take in something. So right now there's nothing on my radar that I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this soon. We want to take in. We're talking about reaching out to some rehabbers to take in some opossums that are non-releasable. Those are good little fun
Mm,
ambassador animals. We've had them over the years. They don't have a long lifespan, but like
no.
maybe we'll take in a couple more of those. Who knows? Who knows what we'll get called for?
Do
Okay.
you foresee yourself expanding to like marine animals?
I wouldn't say it would be like a hard no. That's definitely Brian's like big background and passion. And we've had partnerships with Clearwater Marine Aquarium just
We
to
went
bring
to see
some
you
of
at
our.
SharkCon, I think, right?
Yeah, we went to SharkCon one year, a couple years, I think. So, we definitely always have the passion for marine life. And again, we're having a lot of partnerships with other facilities. We all have to work together, right? Especially when we do different things. It's fun when we can all work together.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't. I guess you never know. I wouldn't say no to it. I guess it would depend what it looks like.
Why why St. Cloud? I know that you said obviously the rural area, right? Being
Hmm.
around or out in the wild where there's no HOA. But why not something closer to like a Busch Gardens? Or, I mean, I guess you're not far from SeaWorld, right? From St.
Yeah,
Cloud,
I
a few
mean,
hours.
we're definitely honestly, we're really close to the airport. We're like 30 minutes from the airport. We're like 30, 45 minutes, depending on traffic from Disney. So we're in a pretty good location
Mm,
for a lot of tourists to come visit. We get people that come from literally all over the world. We get a lot of UK visitors, which is really fun. So it's kind of cool that we have so many different people from all over the country and the world that find us and come visit.
yeah,
So this location definitely has been a part of that. And I give Brian all the kudos because he loves the business side and he thinks about all those kind of aspects as to like how close we are to all the theme parks, to the airports. St. Cloud's definitely booming these days, so that
mm,
has probably helped out as well. But yeah, wanting land, wanting to make sure we're eco agritourism, making sure we can do have the animals that we have here, but then also
sure.
being in a proximity that is going to be easy for people to come and visit, and it's not going to be like a crazy out of the way drive for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah. Do you have your guest sign like a guest book or something? Like so you have like track where people are coming from? That would be cool.
We don't. No, but I always tell people, like, we don't do marketing, so I always am like, "Tag us,
Mhm.
share us on social media." So it is cool because I will see those, like, pop up of, like, someone visiting from wherever place, but we don't have anyone, like, check in, but
That'd be
social
cool for
media,
you.
I
Like
think
like
is
I
that
don't
would
know
be
why
fun.
I don't know if people would want to sign it, but just put
Like,
in like
no,
a
I've seen some zoos that
thing.
have, like, the map, and you can, like, put a pin from where you're
Yeah.
from on the map, so that kinda
Oh
shows, like
yeah, yeah, that's cool.
that would
Or
be
you
that would
you
be
have
fun.
that picture thing that we took a picture at when I was
Uh-huh.
leaving.
Yeah.
Maybe put in just like a wooden thing there and just have like a guest book, and if somebody wants to put where they're from, that'd be cool. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that would be
Or
fun.
just a sign, tag us with where you're from.
She already said that, Nick.
I
Hashtag
need to make
amazing
a sign
animals.
for it. Yeah. Just tag us.
Where can they follow you, Kylie? Where can they
Oh yeah, you
follow
got you
amazing
gotta
animals
follow us
online?
on all the fun social medias. Amazing Animals Inc. So INC at the end there. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We don't we don't do too much YouTube anymore. So got a little busy for that. But TikTok, we got a big TikTok following after the capybaras blew up. So that was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we're on all the social medias. Definitely check us out on that.
Man, what a cool story. Oh, I've always loved what you've done with the animals. I'm very envious. Like I said, I actually in high school wanted to do marine biology. I wanted to go to University of Miami to do marine biology. I've always loved water animals and wanting to swim with the dolphins. I've actually never even been to Discovery Cove, but you've
What?
got to live it and you've got to do it and the amazing trips that you take. Like I appreciate you sharing all of that. I wish you nothing but the best as you grow. And my last question is, what's the long term impact that you look to have, as you do this for another 10 plus years? What does that look like for your vision? And then just leave us with one last word for whether it's for animals, Joffrey's Cast, Joffrey's Days, or using this to promote amazing animals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hopefully long term we'll be able to continue at the rate that we're going. I don't want to get too much bigger. Like I said, I really like the smaller tours that we get to do and doing the offsite programs, being able to inspire kids. I think, having that impact, hopefully we can make some sort of like small impact on how people care for our environments, because we're kind of messing it up at a pretty alarming rate, in my opinion, right now. So I'm like, sometimes it seems a little overwhelming to look at all the bad in the world, but hopefully we can kind of inspire, that good to do something amazing. Like I said, that's always our motto, and hopefully people, and even if that's just being nice to somebody else, or picking up the plastic when you go to the beach, like it's just simple things that people can do, and I hope that we help people think about those things and just doing good in the world and thinking about our impacts. And if we all do that, I think we can start to make a difference and turn things around. So I don't know. I hope people just get to enjoy the animals. I hope it can, put a smile on their face, even if you're just following our social media posts and get to see a cute video of one of the animals. Like just being able to have somebody enjoy the animals, hopefully as much as I do. I think is really fun. Even just you. I didn't realize your kids, talked about it so long after you guys
Yeah,
left, and
I loved it.
I think that's just fun to hear, and hopefully that means I'm doing something right and making a good impact, and hopefully we can continue to take in animals that are in need and give them a good home, and again just enjoy doing it all. Hopefully not
Yeah.
get too burnt out in the process.
And I haven't shared anything yet because I wanted to save it for this episode. Since I knew you were already coming on, I'm gonna save it for when I do the post about it, and then
Okay,
I'll share how amazing
perfect.
Animals is, because I mean it's not just a nonprofit. You and Brian have committed your life to it, and I think that it's proof that compassion still exists when you're putting yourself over, like you mentioned, these are your children, and at the end of the day, these are wild animals that you are just taking care of out of your own accord. These animals were here before us, living on this world, and it's just one human taking care of a piece of nature, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Any last words for Kylie or Amazing Animals?
I mean, I can't wait to come visit. It sounds like an amazing time.
Yeah, you definitely need to. It
Amazing
is
Animals.
pretty fun. I have a little hidden gem back here.
I was amazed at how much bigger it was. It's
Right,
the
we've
first time
grown.
I
I think that's
visited.
the craziest, like, how much
Yeah.
we've grown in the,
I
like,
was
10
there
plus
before the
years we've been.
pond. That's when we came. I think you had gotten the pond, like, right after, maybe?
Like, our big pond, the
Or was
big
it the
pond's always
house,
been
or was
there.
it the building?
Yeah.
The building.
Yeah, our kitchen has been amazing.
You were there
I don't even
before that was
know
built.
I
Yeah.
don't even know if we had the reptile building when you came.
No, no, and
We
because
just had a
even I
little
remember
shed.
when we saw the sloths, they didn't have their own little home. That's such a hard
Yeah,
word. Sloths. Sloth. Sloths.
Sloths.
Sloth. Say it.
I
Sloth.
hope you use this in your bloopers.
The
The sloth.
sloths were over by, like, where the birds were, right? Over
Yeah,
in those
yeah,
cages? Yeah.
yeah. So it's crazy how much, like, now we, like, kinda have our footprint, and so now we just, like, redoing things, like, we're making them
Mm,
bigger, better,
Mm.
yeah.
you know, we've learned more, we've done a lot of research, and, uh, yeah, we've definitely grown and changed a lot, it's crazy. So who knows what the future will be here.
More amazing animals. More
More
amazing
amazing
animals.
animals, yes.
Highly encourage, again, support the people that are protecting the things that can't protect themselves, and that's these animals that Kylie and Amazing Animals and Brian are bringing in. Please visit them at Amazing Animals Inc. on Instagram. You, like Kylie said, you can find them on Facebook. Your website is www.amazinganimals.inc.
Inc.org. Yep,
And you can book your private tours.
yep.
You can Kylie that C-Rod send you, and she will make sure that she's the one running the tour. And if she doesn't, me in your review, and I'll make sure it gets shared.
I'll try. I'll try to do what I can.
But I appreciate you again, Kylie. Thank you so much for coming on. This was a great
Yeah, of course.
episode. I
Thank you
always
guys
like,
for having us.
Yes, thank you
I
so
I
much
always
for
love getting to
coming on.
catch up with you.
yeah, yeah,
Come
yeah.
come visit again. Come visit again. Don't make it so long in between.
Less bottle incidents and more amazing animals.
Yes.
If any part of today's episode hit home, please share it with a friend. Tag us at CrodsPod on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok at CrodsPod and help us keep these conversations going. Again, www.amazinganimalsinc.org. Amazing Animals Inc. on Instagram. We drop new episodes every Thursday. If you have a story, a topic, or you just need a vent, please email us at crodspod@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. Our safe space is your outlet. Please go check out Amazing Animals. And until next time.